Shepard, need me for something?
Has this ever happened to you? You know, picking what to say in Mass Effect, a mechanic commonly known as a dialogue tree. Players didn't always have a chance to choose what to say in games. If you wanted to dictate what your favorite characters were going to do, your only real option was extremely beautiful fan art that was actually probably really good. But branching dialogue options have come a long way. And what if we told you the roots of the mechanic came from something that wasn't even a video game at all? Follow along, dear viewer. All the answers lie at the bottom of the rabbit hole. In the current era, decision-making as a gameplay mechanic is more common than it isn't. Recent faves like Ghost of Tsushima and Assassin's Creed Odyssey are two prominent examples. Heck, Red Dead Redemption 2 lets you have full-blown conversations with NPCs that aren't even part of the plot.
Will you shut the hell up?
But where did this mechanic even come from? Let's work our way backwards through the most influential or interesting uses of dialogue trees and see where we land. Let's begin by hopping back to 2010's Fallout New Vegas, the best game Bethesda's ever made. That's right, Skyrim, I'm talking to you. The dialogue options in the game not only had major ramifications for the plot, they also changed based on how you built your character's stats. Characters with high intelligence would have significantly different choices of what to say than those who put all their skill points in strength or agility or whatever. And other characters would even interact with them differently in ways that didn't hurt my feelings at all.
I recommend the smarter implant.
Every interaction affected the way you were treated in that whole open world. So, either choose super wisely or save super frequently. Or both. Let's be real, the game's probably gonna crash at some point. Thank you for your very good game, Todd Howard. It isn't broken at all. Before that, in 2007, BioWare's original release of Mass Effect pulled a similar trick, with player choices determining both Commander Shepard's morality and, bow chicka wow wow romantic exploits, thereby affecting the overall story. Using BioWare's dialogue wheel, Shep could be a paragon, making all the nicest, kindest choices possible, or they could be a renegade, making not those choices. The player's decisions would dramatically alter the course of the game, determining which characters lived, which characters died, and which characters, got all naked and stuff. Why don't more games use the wheel style? Because BioWare literally patented the idea. It's that good, people. They don't just patent anything.
Watch this, one slap, salad!
Still, like most sci-fi adventures made since the 1970s, the Paragon Renegade thing is just a ripoff of Star Wars, the only original story ever made. No, I will not be taking constructive criticism at this time. In 2003, LucasArts virgin-birthed Star Wars Knight of the Old Republic, one of the first notable titles to introduce game-altering morality choices. Man, the early 2000s were a great time for Star Wars fans. The dialogue options in the game varied based on the player character's gender and skills, and everything they said worked to determine whether they were fighting for the light or dark side of the Force. For that matter, the more evil choices a player made, the more their character's appearance would change. Basically, they'd become hella ugly because being ugly and being evil are synonymous in pop culture. Don't blame me, blame George Lucas, or Disney, or Nintendo, or the Brothers Grimm, or whoever wrote the Bible. Let's head even further back in time to 2001. Punk'd was on the air, NSYNC topped the charts, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney had gamers' courts in session. In Ace Attorney, players used their best lawyer skills to find inconsistencies in witness testimonies via, of course, key dialogue choices. The game's outcome is determined exclusively by dialogue. Sound boring? It's not, because the choices are silly. Very, very silly. It's a good game to prove that your mom was actually wrong. You should not have gone to law school. In 1997, the Fallout series burst onto the scene with its special new system. No, that's what it's called. The Special System. It's an acronym that stands for Strength, Perception, Endurance, Charisma, Intelligence, Agility, and Luck. Based on tabletop GURPS, which sounds like a bodily function but is actually another acronym for Generic Universal Role-Playing System, Special was designed specifically for Fallout and can be found throughout the series. But Fallout didn't create the concept of different dialogue options with NPCs leading to different results. In 1996, the Persona series introduced the negotiation mechanic. Though the game didn't offer specific dialogue choices, players could select between actions like scream, sing, or, seduce, which maybe owes a debt to Leisure Suit Larry and dating sims, but that's a whole other video. Okay, let's take it back to the very bottom of the rabbit hole. In 1977, developer Will Crowther unleashed Colossal Cave Adventure onto the world. Adventure was a beautiful mishmash of all of Crowther's favorite things: caving, Dungeons and Dragons, and developing groundbreaking technology. Seriously, before this, the guy worked on the ARPANET. That's a heck of a resume. Colossal Cave Adventure was a text-based RPG in which the player character explored a mysterious cave in search of gold and other treasures. They would navigate the game with simple 1- or 2-word commands. Colossal Cave Adventure is widely considered to be the very first work of interactive fiction. Okay, yes, we said we were at the bottom, but let's crack out our shovels and dig just a little deeper. Get out of the way, rabbits. We're thinking outside the hole. Before there were video games, there were these things called books. Proto-gamers dug the interactivity of choose-your-own-adventure books, in which you could die in just about every way imaginable. You could travel to space and die, become lost in the Amazon and die, and even become a shark and devour an alternate universe version of you, which is basically just a super roundabout way to die. But of course, there was a limit to the interactivity available in these books. You couldn't affect real change in your character based on the decisions you made. All you could do was turn to a chosen page and then draw extremely beautiful fan art that was actually probably really good. It would be a long time before Mass Effect would force players to choose which crew member to save. And it all started with turning to page 42 and dying. So now we're at the very bottom of the rabbit hole, and we've learned about everything from the sexy moral choices of the upcoming Mass Effect Legendary Edition to the nostalgia of choose-your-own-adventure books. One thing's for certain, draw whatever fan art you want, because being a lawyer is really, really hard, actually.